Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Janus, creator of Pinoy Tech Dad. Today we're going to be talking about the Realme X7. This is going to be my full review. If you haven't seen my unboxing video yet, I'll put the link up on the right corner so you guys can see what's included in the package. So as I mentioned, I already did an unboxing video on this, so I won't be doing that in this video. Now let's go ahead and talk about the build quality and the design on this. The Realme X7 is made out of plastic, but the back panel feels a lot like the Realme X3 or even my Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro, which is something that I really like. This has a matte finish, it's not glossy, it's not gonna be a huge fingerprint magnet. One thing that I love about the Realme X7 is its size. It's really slim. I mean, it only has a 4,300 milliamp hour battery capacity, which maybe helps with the slimness of the design of the phone, but this is something that I really look for in a phone, something that I can hold really well in my hands. This is gonna be the perfect size just for anyone. And if you look at the colorway that I have, this is the Island Blue colorway, which really looks good. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the performance on the X7. This is equipped with the MediaTek Dimensity 800U. This is a 7nm chipset, and this is way better than whatever chipset they had on the Realme 7 series. This was something that I was excited about when I started reviewing this, and I'm happy to say that it performs really well. We're gonna be talking more about gaming in a different section, but just to touch on it, I really love the performance when it comes to gaming because I didn't feel any heating issues. But just for multitasking, opening different or several apps, browsing through Facebook and Instagram and all of that, and watching videos on YouTube or Netflix, you're not gonna have any issues whatsoever. It's a fantastic performing phone at the mid-range level. So yeah, I really love this Dimensity series of chipsets from MediaTek. Alright, so moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the display. Now, this is where I really want to commend Realme. This is a mid-range phone equipped with an AMOLED display, and this is a really good display. Now, a lot of you have requested that I make a comparison between the Realme X7 and the Poco X3, and I think one of the best comparisons that we can do between the two phones is when it comes to the display. Now, this is not the dedicated video between the Poco X3 and the Realme X7, but I just wanted to show you guys a glimpse of what you can expect between the Poco X3 and the Realme X7 display. So this is a battle between an IPS LCD display and an AMOLED display, and this is where you'll see how much better the AMOLED display is. So enjoy these beautiful images between the Realme X7 and the Poco X3. Basically, what you're going to be seeing here is that the display on the Poco X3 will be brighter than the display on the Realme X7. But one thing that I want you all to notice is that when it comes to black levels, the AMOLED display wins all the time. So it's a better representation of what colors you can see because it doesn't introduce that extra brightness. Now, when it comes to the fluidity of the display, of course, you'll be seeing a more fluid display on the Poco X3 because that one has a 120Hz display, while the Realme X7 only has a 60Hz display. But again, if you're gonna make me choose between a 120Hz IPS LCD display versus a 60Hz AMOLED display, I'll pick the AMOLED display any time of the day. Now, just a quick side note on the Realme X7 when it comes to media consumption. If you're looking forward to watching HD quality movies on Netflix, you're not going to be able to achieve that with the Realme X7 as it is right now because this is a China version. So we only get Widevine level 3 certification on this. So there's really no HD quality on Netflix, as you can see here. Now, the question is, will you be able to notice the difference between an HD quality video versus a non-HD quality video? I'd say if you're really picky with your video quality, I really think you'd notice it just like me. But if you're not very particular with video quality when it comes to watching movies, then you're not going to be able to notice that much of a difference when it comes to HD versus non-HD Netflix video quality. Alright, next up, let's go ahead and talk about the camera on this. So this is equipped with a 64 megapixel main shooter, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens, a 2 megapixel macro lens, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Now, as of the time of this review, I wasn't able to confirm what sensor they were using for the main camera, whether it was a Sony IMX686 or a Sony IMX682. But one thing that I can assure you is that this takes good quality photos as well as videos. You can get 4K quality at 30 frames per second, and rather than bore you with my camera sample talk, I'm just gonna show you guys in the Google Drive link the full resolution photos so you guys will be able to check them out for yourself. But overall, I was really happy with the camera quality of the Realme X7. I was able to get good quality photos, especially at nighttime. It's not gonna be super magical, like it will perform better than flagship phones, but it performs decently when it comes to nighttime photography. Now moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the gaming performance on the Realme X7. I've had a really enjoyable time playing games. It performs really well, and I was so blown away by the performance of the MediaTek Dimensity 800U. You know, it's just so surprising that MediaTek has finally shed off its label of being a producer of chipsets that get really hot in an instant. Because with this one, my phone remained really cool. I mean, the hottest that I've gotten on this is around 38 degrees Celsius, and that's for about 2 hours of gaming nonstop on this. Now, one thing that you should take note of, however, is that the Dimensity 800U is not yet optimized for most games. For example, with Mobile Legends, you can only get up to high graphical settings without the ultra settings option, but you do have HFR. Now, as for Call of Duty Mobile, I did have a very smooth experience on this, but you have to take note again that this is not optimized yet for Call of Duty Mobile. As of the time of this review, I was only able to get up to medium graphical settings with no options for high or very high graphical settings on Call of Duty. As for PUBG, you can get up to HD graphical settings and nothing more than that. And as for Asphalt 9, it wasn't able to show all of the graphical effects that you typically see when it comes to powerful gaming phones. But again, I think this is something that is due to the non-optimization of the chipset. But hopefully game developers will make the adjustments and optimize their games for the Dimensity 800U chipset. Unfortunately, when I tested the Realme X7, I wasn't able to test Genshin Impact yet, but I'm sure it will be able to handle that perfectly. But if you want to request a full gaming review, let me know in the comment section, and depending on how many people make a request for that video, then I'll probably make one. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about the battery life on this. Now, while this is equipped with a 4,300 mAh battery capacity, I know it's a little bit small compared to other phones with 5,000 mAh of battery capacity. I think it's just the right amount of battery capacity for this kind of phone. I mean, it's not really power hungry. I was consistently using this for a full day on just a single charge. What's really exciting about the Realme X7 is that you get a 65-watt charger in a mid-range device. Normally, you'd pay for a lot more when it comes to fast charging at that level. So it's really nice to get 65 watts fast charging on a mid-range device. So I was able to get 10% to 100% in just 35 minutes. That's really fast. So I'm really happy for the mid-range segment that we're finally getting 65 watts at that price point. Now, as for my final thoughts, I think the Realme X7 is a really awesome mid-range phone. It's very slim. It's something that I look for in a phone, a very slim design. It's very lightweight, and I'm really not a part of the heavier is more premium crowd. So this feels super premium even though it's lightweight. I almost forgot, this already has 5G. So this is probably one of the most affordable phones that you can get with a 5G connection. But there are two things that I wish that the Realme X7 had. And number one of that is I wish that this would have a global version so that each one of you can enjoy this device. This is something that I can highly recommend if this becomes globally available. And number two, an expandable memory card slot. Now, I'm not gonna rant about the lack of an audio jack, but the lack of a memory card slot or expandable memory, that is something that I wish this had, because at 128 gigabytes, this is something that you should constantly think about when it comes to your file storage. Now, I know a lot of you guys will be asking me what I prefer between the Poco X3 and the Realme X7, and I'd have to say I would pick the Realme X7. And I think that is gonna be surprising for most of you because I really do love the Poco X3 for the value that it gives you. But for me, the 65 watt fast charging, the AMOLED display, and the 5G connectivity, is something that I cannot overlook that the Realme X7 has that the Poco X3 doesn't have. So let's say if the Realme X7 comes out at 15,000 pesos here in the Philippines or around $300 globally, I think the price difference between the Poco X3 and the Realme X7 is definitely covered by the 3 advantages that the Realme X7 has. So it really depends on what you value the most. If you value 5G connectivity, if you value an AMOLED display over an IPS display, and you want to have 65 watts fast charging, then it's gonna be easier to pick the Realme X7. However, if you really value the higher refresh rate on the Poco X3, the expandable memory card slot, then it's gonna be an easier choice to pick the Poco X3. So again, it really depends on what you value more. If you want to get one, I'll try to put the links in the description box so you guys can check out the Realme X7 for yourself. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell button so you can watch more videos like this in the future. That's it for today, guys. Keep safe and have a great day.